In 2009, Umaga collapsed in his home and never woke up. He was 36 years old, two-time Intercontinental Champion, one of the most physically terrifying presences WWE had ever put in a ring, and he left behind a son who was 9 years old watching his father's career on television and quietly deciding that one day he would walk through the same doors. 17 years later, Zilla Fatu was seen at the WWE Performance Center in Orlando, going through the signing process. Dave Meltzer confirmed he is expected to start with WWE very soon. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select said it came about fairly recently, meaning this wasn't years of planning. This was a decision WWE made fast. And fast decisions in professional wrestling only happen when someone is needed urgently. The Bloodline needs him right now. And he needs the Bloodline to fulfill a legacy that has been waiting 17 years to continue. Hit subscribe right now if you're new here, because this signing changes the entire Bloodline picture heading into SummerSlam and beyond. Let's get into it. Here is what separates Zilla Fatu from every other second-generation Samoan talent WWE has signed. He didn't grow up inside a wrestling family that groomed him from birth. He grew up in circumstances that would have ended most careers before they started. Zilla Fatu spent 6 years in the Texas State Penitentiary, incarcerated at 15 years old. He was released in March 2022. Walked straight into Booker T's Reality of Wrestling gym and started from zero. 3 years later, he is the House of Glory Crown Jewel Champion. He challenged MJF for the EU World Championship at the House of Glory No Turning Back event in February 2026, and he told the Bootleg Kev podcast directly his heart is with WWE, not EU. He said he has unfinished business with his father's legacy, and he intends to finish it inside a WWE ring. He is 26 years old. He has been wrestling for 3 years, and he is already being discussed as a future Bloodline member at the highest level of the company's creative planning. That is not a development act. That is a man who arrived in professional wrestling fully formed and ready for the biggest stage immediately. Paul Heyman said publicly that WWE would be remiss not to sign Zilla Fatu at the very first opportunity. That's the most important advocate in WWE politics, telling the company to move fast. And they did. Reports from False Finish, and confirmed by multiple sources, indicate WWE's plan is to start Zilla Fatu in NXT, before slotting him into the Bloodline storyline on the main roster. That decision has divided the wrestling internet completely. Half the fanbase wants him on SmackDown, immediately standing next to Roman Reigns. The other half argues NXT gives him time to build his own identity before the Bloodline absorbs him. Here's the truth that both sides are missing. The most impactful Bloodline arrivals in recent history weren't announced weeks in advance. Jacob Fatu debuted on SmackDown, and the building shook before anyone knew what they were watching. Solo Sikoa turned up at WrestleMania weekend and changed the faction's entire direction overnight. Royce Keys debuted at the Royal Rumble and eliminated Damian Priest before anyone even knew his name. Zilla Fatu spending time in NXT building his own character, separate from the family name, makes the moment he walks through a SmackDown or Raw curtain as a Bloodline member exponentially more explosive. He won't just be Roman's cousin. He'll be the man who survived prison, rebuilt himself from nothing, carved his own name on the independent circuit, and then walked home to the family that was always waiting. That's not a debut. That's an arrival. And Roman Reigns hasn't had an arrival that size since Jacob Fatu bowed after tribal combat at Clash in Italy. Roman Reigns faces Seth Rollins at SummerSlam in Minneapolis on August 1st. Rollins has aligned with Solo Sikoa. The Visionary has the numbers Solo knows every Bloodline tactic from the inside. Rollins has beaten Roman clean at WrestleMania 41, and the head-to-head record between these two men sits 5 wins to 4 losses in Rollins' favor. Roman's insurance policy heading into Minneapolis was supposed to be Jacob Fatu at ringside, but reports indicate WWE is keeping Fatu occupied on Raw to protect the championship picture there. That leaves Roman walking into SummerSlam with Jey and Jimmy Uso, and a growing sense that the numbers might not be enough against the most prepared challenger he has faced in years. Zilla Fatu, appearing at SummerSlam even just from the crowd. Even just as a presence the camera catches would change the calculation instantly. It wouldn't need to be a full debut. Roman Reigns simply needing to lock eyes with Umaga's son in the front row of US Bank Stadium would tell the entire arena that the Bloodline just got a weapon nobody has seen yet. And after SummerSlam, when X starts featuring a 26-year-old named Zilla Fatu, dismantling developmental talent in under 3 minutes, the countdown to the main roster arrival begins. Every week he dominates, X is another week Roman Reigns' faction gets more dangerous without him even being on the same show yet. Umaga never got his WrestleMania moment. Never got the World Championship run his ability deserved. Left behind a 9-year-old son and an unfinished legacy that has been sitting in WWE's history for 17 years. Zilla Fatu told the world his heart is with WWE, that he has unfinished business with his father's story. And now Dave Meltzer says he is expected to start very soon with an angst run that leads directly into the most dominant faction professional wrestling has produced in its entire history. The Bloodline is already the most powerful faction in WWE. Roman has the world title. Jacob Fatu is the most destructive enforcer on the roster. The Usos are home, and somewhere in Orlando, the son of Umaga is finishing his paperwork. Drop it in the comments, does Zilla Fatu go to next first and build toward the most explosive main roster debut of 2026? Or does WWE fast-track him straight to Roman Reigns' side and give the Bloodline a weapon nobody has a single answer for? Subscribe to Wrestling Cannva. Umaga's legacy isn't finished. It's just getting started. He watched his father on television at 9 years old. Now he's coming to finish what his father started.